In a previous lesson, we talked about the guide tab in Hair, and in this lesson, we want to talk about the Hair tab and in all its settings. Okay, for better seeing that, it's better. You can see we have a simple plane and simply go to the simulation and add a simple hair tag, hair system. It's better to activate interactive render to better see what happened here. Okay, nice. Okay, we are going to the hair, and the first thing that you see here is a count. It's the count of hair. You can add any number of the hair, lower number you can see, or it's better to quality to the mid, and the higher number of the hair that you want. Nice. Segment. As I explained before, we have two segments in a guides. If you want to interact with a guide and use a comb or other tools of the hair, you can use, for example, undock this. For example, brush. You are using the segment of the guides. But for example, in this case, if I brush the hair, something like that, you can see we have a segment of the hair guides. But if you activate interactive render, or let's reduce the number of the hair, better seeing that, you can see the segment of the hair are different to segment of the guides. Just for working with the guides, we have a segment, the segment of the hair, how much this curve are smooth. You can increase or decrease the number of the segment. For example, the higher number, you can see we have smoother hair. So it's a different. Don't mix the height of the guide, the segment of the guide, or segment. The most important thing is segment of the hair, the final render. Okay. So this is on count, and let's see this number. Okay. Root. Again, in a guide, we have root. Which part of the I explained it before. Okay. Which part of the polygon and the object center or UV, these guides will be grown. And it's also in a hair. You can control hair. It's automatic means it's create, interpolate, and in between the guides and create hair for you. Okay, it's automatically. You can increase or decrease the number of the hair if you want. Okay. Again, you can make it the hair are growing between polygon or on the area. You have a different situation of the hair. Okay, if you want to see it better, you can go to viewport and I will explain it more. You can make it to the hairline, and you can see the hair. You can see they are distributing in between the guides. The hair are creating in between the guides. You can see we have a higher number of the hair here. Wow, we have lots of them. So again, you can see it automatically interpolate between the hair or at the edge of the polygon if you want. You can see they are creating in between the guides and the edge, but the most important thing is auto. As a guide is interesting. As a guide means each guide turn to the hair. That's it. You can see in the render. Nice. Automatic. You can see you can offset the hair at the surface of your object here or extend it. You can see extend the hair from to sometimes if you render you can see it has a different face, but if you extend it you make sure that your hair is going inside of your objects. And I think let's, I think it's better to explain as a normal like this. I brush the you can see I brush all of this hair that is exactly go uh, it's bending on the surface. I can see. And if you go to the hair and take it as a normal, you can see it straighten. It straighten the it's straighten the hair based on the normal of the surface, and then it's begin to bending. This is as a normal if you want. Another tab, let's close all of them. Another tab is growth. It's exactly like density in a guide, in a growth here. It's exactly like that. So minimum distance, you can set the minimum distance between the hair if you want. For example, the higher number, it try to 1 centimeter, or anyhow, it's try to make the hair minimum distance between their 1 centimeter. You can see it take too time to calculate such these things. Be careful about that. Okay, I don't want it. Density, as I explained it before, you can go to the guide. I don't want to explain it again. It's better to defining the guides. You can give the black and white code to that, and in a black part you don't have the hair, in a white part you have a hair. You can refer to that. Restrict to the guides. You can increase the number of the hair. It's mostly restrict to the guides. It's searching to 3 guides nearby each other, and they are restricting the hair to the 3 guides. For example, the lower number, you can see. You see that in this number, you have to find the good number. Yeah, you can see it's restricting the hair to the guides. For example, 1 guide. Yeah, you can see you can restricting the hair. Oh, waiting to be calculated. You can see it restrict the hair based on 1 guide to this centimeter. Nice. It takes time to calculate. Be careful about that. Nice. Another tab is cloning. For example, make the hair as a guide, and the hairline, I think automatic, and increase the number of the hair to better see that. Not too much. Loving number. Okay. Going to the hair. If you want to clone the hair, you can use this cloning. Clone, for example, you can see you can clone 1 hair anytime that you want. The set root is if you deform your object and the roots are not correctly placed, you can set a root. You can see something like this. It's reroute your, if you deform the hair, you can see they are not placing correctly, but it's resetting again. Set root is good. And then you can change the root distance. You can see here, and the tip distance. Interesting. Something like this. You can create some grass with that. Scale of them 100% with variation. You can see we have a variation in a scale. Nice. And if you can change this offset by curve, and you can change this offset of the here with a curve. You can see, or you can control click on here and change it, something like that. Decrease the number of the hairs to better seeing that, something like this. You can see you can control the distance and the curve between the root and the tips with that. Yeah, you can see this is a tip. You can open and close it, and this is in the root, and this is an interpolation between them. So you can creating such a these things with cloning. Nice. Okay, another thing is interpolation. The interpolation between two hairs. Okay, for creating such these things, it's better to make it one polygon and make it editable and add a hair to that. So we have the guide on vertex. So we render it. You can see it's create interpolation between the hairs. Nice. I think it's better to go in a selection of the guides, brush selection, and select these two guides and delete them. And again, so you can go to hair guides. So we have too many hair and make it smaller. You can see its root is automatic. You can make it as guide or at the edge to better see interpolation between them. In the guide, polygon vertex, polygon edge. That's not different, so it's good. Going to the hair, and these are creating interpolation between two hairs. You can make it a linear or cubic. Oh, for better understanding this, it's better to change the hair guide scale. For doing that, you can go to the simulation and scale and click and drag to the left. I will be explaining more. Make it smaller and render it again. So you can see this is an interpolation between the hair. I think it's better to render it from this view. You can see it's a cubic. It's interpolation between two different height of the guides that the hair are creating in between them. Cubic, linear, you can see interpolation between or linear. You can change these numbers to cubic, or you can set the variation between this interpolation. Or if you want, you can use this curve as a clump. Interesting. Yeah, you can change this curve to change the interpolation between the two guides hair. So you clump the hair based on the guides. If you want, you can use it. So this is an interpolation. Okay, this is an hair tap. Please don't forget to visit our TutorialCells apps channel. In this channel, we are introducing Android application and learn how to use them.